look on the chat section so that if you all have any questions, you can ask us there by typing those questions there. So Lalit, you can begin, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Shubham. Now, first of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you who have joined us in this session, and we will help you out, we will guide you out, and we will share our knowledge, the personal experiences that we had regarding to the communication and some ethics and manners. And as Shubham said, if you have any issues or technical issues or any questions regarding the topic, you can mention it in the chat section. Our whole data team is here. Shubham and I, we will try to help you out. So let's get started with the session. Yeah, as you all know, our topic effective communication and business manners. Before starting, actually, we are going to look at the agenda, as in, we are going to tell you how will be the flow of the session and what will be the key takeaways for all of you, what you can learn and add value to your knowledge. So we will start with what is communication, a basic question, and why it is so effective and relevant in today's age and world, why it is so sought after skill in today's world, in corporate world, and also in business. How what vocabulary plays, what part vocabulary plays in your life, in your communication skills. Then we'll discuss about the communication skills, the main three types of communication skills, the verbal, non-verbal, and written. We'll go into deep into every topic and we'll discuss and we'll also tell the practical solutions that we have personally tried and which you can try and improve your communication skills, your speaking skills. Then we will move towards business manners, some basic etiquettes on how to approach the clients, how to write the emails, letters, and everything. Okay. And again, I would like to request you to actively participate in the session so that we also know that you are getting what we are trying to tell you. So if we ask any question or if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat section. The basic question is what is communication? And you can tell us in the chat section what is your idea in one or two words you are comfortable with. According to me, the basic idea is, let's say I have some idea in my mind and I want to give that idea, I want to share that idea to Shubham. Okay, then I must be able to share that same idea which I have in my mind to Shubham, and Shubham will understand it easily. Why we use communication basically is to communicate, to share our knowledge, to share our thoughts, to share our feelings, whatever we have. Right now, I am communicating with you all. This is basic communication. Okay. Then why it is so important and relevant, and why the researchers are saying, if you Google it out anywhere, then you will come to know that communication skills is one of the most sought after skills in the market today. It is one of the most sought after non-technical skills in the market. If you have some technical skills or any skills related to your domain, and on the top of it, if you have communication skills, then it is a very good combo. You can become very successful, and it is not just like that you it will help you only in your corporate life. It will also help you in your business. We'll discuss that as we proceed further. Now I have made 3 points here. What is the relevance and importance in student life and in professional life, in corporate life, and then in business. Coming back to student life, if you are a student, if you are studying now, then there are high chances that you have not participated in any debates and speeches, you have not given any speech, you have not gone onto the stage, you fear going onto the stage because you have that fear that anyone will laugh at me, or you are not confident about your grammar, you are not confident about your body language, you are not confident about your looks. In student life, let's take a simple example. If you have to give a presentation regarding to your project, and I think everyone here might have given some presentation about some topic in their college life, or they will give the presentation, they will present something in front of their audience, in front of their class in future. So what if let's take an example. If our professor tells us to that you have to give presentation on the project that you have made, the first thought that comes in most of our minds is, अरे यार मुझे तो सबके सामने बोलना पड़ेगा, that I have to talk in front of everyone. We don't focus on the main content. We focus on the communication. We focus on the language. We think that which language will we talk, how we will talk. So we tend to distract from the main topic, which is our project, and we focus on some other secondary things which we don't want to focus. That is communication skill. That's why it is so important. I just give one example of why communication skill is so important in student life. And coming to professional life, if you are starting, then if you want to get a job, then first comes the interview. You have to have the communication skills right. You don't, if you have the communication skills right, or if you start practicing from now, then you don't have to worry about your language, your accent, your vocabulary, you will be able to speak or not. You only have to worry about the technical things or your domain which you are giving interview for. Also, it helps in corporate world, in your professional world, in any job that you are doing. It helps to communicate with your colleagues, with your boss, with your manager. It helps a lot, not only speaking skills, but also written skills, your body language, everything. Also in business, you might think that there is no need of communication skills. You can do business without the communication skills, without speaking English. Yes, you can do it, but in today's digital world where there is so much content and data, it is one of the necessary skills that you must excelling. No one is perfect, but you should become fluent in speaking English and also written English and everything. So, Shubham, let's move forward. Now, as I told you, communication skills will play a part in your business. Then you can see here I have made one type of diagram. Now, I would like to make one point here that communication skills is the base of everything. If you master that communication skills, if you know the basics right, if you start to speak fluently, if you know everything, the grammar aspect, the theoretical aspect, then you can add on to a lot of extra skills to your existing skill set. As you can see, the selling skill set, if you are doing a job of sales marketing, you can sell, you can inculcate that selling skill, then you can use the negotiation skills, you can learn negotiation skills, you can learn presentation skills, good presentation skills, you can learn influencing skills. Now, one point which is not mentioned here, I would like to tell you that you can even monetize your communication skills. If you are good at influencing in a right way, in a positive manner, if you are good at speaking, if you want to share your experiences, your struggle, your happiness, what you have achieved, you can also do that. You can become a public speaker and also monetize it. Then for effective leadership, it is very necessary that there is no communication gap. You have to build a team, and also at the same time you have to communicate with them effectively so that your team works very well. So communication skills plays a part in all of these things. Next slide, please. Now, as I said, we are going to discuss about three main types of communication skills, that is verbal, non-verbal, and written. In verbal means the spoken English, the English we speak. And coming to the non-verbal part, it includes facial expressions, hand gestures, eye contact. Most of these things, we tend to ignore these things, even if we are at a decent level where we can speak English fluently. But most of the people don't add these things, don't add the facial expressions, don't use the hand gestures, don't maintain the eye contact. If you include all this in your speech or whenever you are communicating, it will enhance your communication. And then we'll look at the written part, how to write formal letters. Not actually how to write, we all have studied that for a long 10, 12 years in our school, in our junior college. But we, what mistakes we can avoid, what mistakes we tend to do regularly in our formal letters or emails, we'll take a look at that also. Okay. Now coming to the first type, as I said earlier, verbal communication. And I have listed some points, the what I think is drawbacks of what I have faced and what I have observed from my colleagues, from my friends. The first point is we don't like speaking with strangers if you don't have the confidence, if you don't speak regularly in English, if you don't have the vocabulary and all that. You don't like speaking to strangers. I don't know how many of you have been to a tech event or some seminars like that. But when we as a team, the Delta team goes somewhere at a tech event or some occasion, I have seen a lot of people building their network. They approach people, they give their cards, they share their ideas, they share their thoughts, their plans, what they are doing and what they are going to implement in their startup, in their business, everything. So if you don't have the verbal communication right, you don't have the speaking skills right, you tend to ignore this and you try to hide somewhere in the corner and leave that place. The second point is not comfortable going onto the stage. Now, this point is not applicable to everyone. Not everyone likes to give speech or he doesn't like going onto the stage. But there are some people who love to, who would like to go onto the stage, but they are afraid because they don't speak. The base point is they don't speak and they don't practice enough, or their vocabulary is not strong. But if I make a grammatical error, then it haunts them. Okay. Then the next point is unable to start the conversation. As I said earlier, in the first point, you are not able to start the conversation, even if you have some question in mind and you are clear about that question, but just because of the language barrier and because of the confidence, you don't start the conversation. You are not able, even if you start the conversation, you are not able to break that ice. Okay. And the last point is start comparing yourself with others. This is a very critical point actually. And I personally did it with myself. I started comparing myself with a lot of others whom I saw speaking fluently, and I saw each and many people speaking very fluently, and they were very good with their words. They were very good with their confidence, and this is the point. This is the reason why many of the people don't start speaking up publicly or within their friends group or their college or their in their office. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, this is actually funny if you look at it and if you think that this is very true. I think this is applicable to everyone at some point. What I say versus what I speak. What we think in our mind is very huge. We think a lot, but when it comes to speaking, when the time is to speak, the thoughts remain in the mind. We are able to only speak about 10 to 20% of what we thought. This happens with everyone, and I hope everyone can relate with it. Okay. Now, coming to challenges we face, as I said, I have made some list here, some points. If you are starting speaking English, you will face this, or even if you are at a mid level, at a decent level, you will face some of these difficulties while speaking. Now we have found out, I think like 100 words in my mind before speaking, but speaking it out loud, where do they vanish? Yeah, that's the point I made. What we think versus what we speak, it happens because we don't practice enough. When we are thinking in mind, it appears that it is all right. We can speak very good English. We are very pro at it. But in actual, when we actually speak with some loud voice, we are not able to do that because it is Yes, Shubham. As Shubham said, lack of practice. We don't practice enough. We don't speak enough so that we get the confidence, and we are not at loss of words when we speak. Now coming back to the challenges we face, the first point is vocabulary. As I said earlier, the vocabulary plays a very important part in our communication skills. I would suggest is what I would suggest is if even if you don't have that good vocabulary, don't shy away. Start speaking, start communicating. Eventually, you will learn a lot of words from everyone, from whom you are talking or whom you are observing. And I think vocabulary must not be the problem today because in today's world, this Netflix and Amazon, the web series and all, we watch a lot of it and we watch many Hollywood shows, many Hollywood web series, many Hollywood movies. You watch it in English with subtitles, and you can gain a lot from it. Or if you don't like to watch that, you can read books. It will help you to increase your vocabulary. And what I would suggest is learn new words every day. Take that initiative, one word each day, or in a week you can learn 4 to 5 words. And please don't just look at it. Take a book, write it down, write the word, and after that word write the meaning of the word, so that whenever you want to use that word you will know the meaning of the word and you will be able to properly fit that word into your sentence. You will be able to frame the sentence correctly. Okay. Then the next point is accent. I have seen actually a lot of people faking their accent. They have seen the American accent, they have seen the British accent. They are actually influenced by them. What people think that if we speak in an accent, it will give us more respect or it will look cool, but it is not cool. Actually, stick. What I would recommend is be authentic. What is your original accent? Stick to it. The way you speak in your native language, let's say Marathi or Hindi, speak in that accent. Don't fake your accent. Otherwise, other than content, other than the words, other than the sentences, you will need to focus on an extra thing, that is accent. Okay. And one more point, if you have the pronunciation wrong, if you are pronouncing a word wrong, then of course you have to correct it, but don't try to fake the accent. Then the point is stage fear. As I said, stage fear is in a lot of people. Even I had that initially. How will that go? How will that vanish? The simple point is when you practice, when you actually go on stage and speak, you make mistakes, you will learn. Now, I would like to give simple example. If you are learning to drive a car, at the start you are not confident enough. What will I do? How will I do? Then after some days, after 10 days, after 20 days, after 30 days, you become confident. You try to drive that car alone. Okay, and gradually after 2 to 3 months, you become confident that now, yes, I will be able to drive my car on the roads, in the traffic. Same thing applies here. The more you practice, the more you get better at it. If you have stage fear, go on the stage, speak. If you get a chance, if you participate in speech, if you participate in debates, it will help you in a long term. Okay. Then comes the social pressure. This is with a lot of people. They know everything. Even if they know everything, they know the grammar right. They know the theoretical aspect. They speak very well, but why they don't go on to the stage or they don't start to speak or don't start to converse in English is because of social pressure, that someone might laugh at me. What will he say? What will my friends say? What will my family members say? How will I look? How will my voice be modulated? These all things come in mind and you need to get rid of it. Don't think about the social pressure. Don't think of anyone. If you want to improve, then you have to start speaking. Even if you make mistakes, keep speaking. That's the only way you are going to improve. Okay. Low self-esteem, almost zero confidence. That is the point. You fear a lot. You don't have any confidence. Even if you know a lot of vocabulary, even if you can frame the sentences correctly, you have no confidence, and that is the reason you cannot speak. Inferiority complex feeling of, which is feeling of uselessness. This comes from comparing, as I said earlier. Don't compare yourself with any other any other person. He is different. Let's take an example. If I think that I am not good enough, if I, let's suppose I start comparing myself with Shubham, that I will say he has a good voice, he has done a lot of anchoring, he has done, he has a good command over the stage and everything, then I will not be able to speak anytime. If I think like that, I will not be able to speak publicly or even in person. Okay, that's the reason why stop comparing yourself with everyone. You have your different qualities, you have your different accent. Stick to it, accept it, and start speaking. Now, camera shy, those who work in front of camera, they have this challenge that they don't like to speak in front of camera. And then the self doubt. Then all of these points come down to one point, that is self doubt. Everything happening is because self doubt. You doubt yourself that even if you know everything, you doubt yourself that will I be able to speak? अगर मैंने ये कर दिया तो क्या होगा? If I do some mistake, if I commit some mistake, then what will happen? What will people think? My suggestion is the same what I have said earlier. Start speaking, make mistakes. You will gradually and slowly learn to be fluent. Okay. Next slide, please, Shubham. Yeah, Hitesh Moria said sometimes lyrics of English song may also yes, English songs, English movies, web series, books. It all helps. And one more point which I think I have made is if you write articles, if you write blogs, then also it might help because when you write down something, your brain gets used to it and you memorize a lot of words, your vocabulary increases. To make your content strong, you do some research and that is very helpful. It will help you in a long term. And if you have want to write blogs or articles, then thumbs up. Start with it. Even if you make mistakes, no problem. Start with it. You will get better and better. Now, these are some tips what I have included in my daily routine, in my personal life, what I have used and what has helped me improve and what I was 2 to 3 years back. Use simple words. As I said, don't use that fancy words, the big words. You can speak and communicate efficiently even using simple words. Right now, I am using very simple words which all are able to get. Even if people don't speak that much English, they are able to get those words, understand the meaning of what you are saying. Don't translate, try thinking in English. Now, if you are a beginner, then this point is right that first think in your native language and then try to translate it in English and then speak. If you have learned English for 10 to 12 years, then I would suggest is don't do this. Try thinking in English and try speaking in English. Try thinking your daily incident, what we do. Suppose you have to go to the market, then say to yourself that I will, I'm going to go to market today. Something like this. Try to speak in English. Don't translate from any other language. If you are a complete beginner, then translate. But if you have reached a certain stage, then try thinking in English. The more you think, the more you will speak in English. And the third point is don't fake your accent. As I said earlier, don't fake your accent. Be comfortable in your own accent and accept as you are. Now, the fourth point might sound creepy or uncomfortable to a lot of you. Speaking in front of mirror. I have personally tried this and it helps a lot. What by speaking in front of mirror, what you are doing is you get to know how you are using hand gestures, or even if you are not using hand gestures, then you come to know that I am not using my hand gestures properly, or my expressions are not proper. There is one question: is it okay to lose clarity in speech a bit while trying to be fluent, or should I try to go slow and focus on pronouncing more? It is okay to sometimes fumble when you are starting. Everyone fumbles, and if you speak for say 1 or 2 hours, you are going to fumble somewhere. You are going to make some mistake. At last, you are humans. Mistake is going to happen, but don't try to speak fast. If it comes naturally to you, then okay. But if you think that speaking fast English is equals to speaking fluent English, then it's not the case. Focus on the pauses. Take some pauses if you are not confident or you are not thinking of the next sentence. Take some pause and then think and then start. Okay. Now take sufficient pauses. As I said, don't try to speak too fast. Many people speak fast and they are confident. Is keeping all the political things aside. Mr. Narendra Modi, the way he takes pauses in his speech is very brilliant. He has mastered that art, and if you take a look at him, you will understand what I am talking about. He takes sufficient pauses. He doesn't try to speak very fast, and he doesn't fumble. Of course, it will take a lot of practice, but you can also reach at that stage by doing consistent practice. Okay, and then the next point is make short videos and record it. And this also might not seem comfortable with a lot of you. Might not feel comfortable doing it, but I would suggest please do it. When you record your videos, after recording it, you can actually watch your own self talking. You can watch your own self speaking, what mistakes you have made or what you need to improve. You will get to know, अरे इधर मैंने R बोला, इधर is होना चाहिए था. You will get to know that grammatical errors, or when you have to take the pause, or when you are fumbling a bit. Okay, and if possible, if you are not able to rectify the mistakes, show it to your friend or build some community where you regularly do these things. Make short videos on some random topic. You can choose some impromptu topics from Google as well. You can make short videos of 2-3 minutes and try practicing it, and it helps a lot. I can assure you it will help you a lot, and don't hesitate, just take the action. Even if you make the mistakes, you will eventually get better at it. Then you can start talking to yourself, and I'm sure most of the people here talk to themselves. I would recommend you to start talking to yourself, start speaking to yourself in English, and not just thinking in your mind. By talking, by speaking, I mean actually speak with a loud voice, with a normal tone, and you will see the results in some days or some months. And the last point again is do not compare yourself with others. While you are doing all this, don't compare yourself with others. They have been talking, they have been speaking, they have been practicing that from a long time. They have mastered the art. No one is perfect, even they make some mistakes, even I make some mistakes, but the point is you have to be confident and start speaking, start taking that action. Okay. A few more topics. Start interacting and building network. If you go at an unknown place, if you go at an event or something, start interacting. If you have any questions, approach them. If they are approaching you, don't try to hide. Try speaking to them. No one is going to laugh at you, and even if they laugh at you, take it as a motivation and move ahead. Then the next point is read, listen, and observe. This is very important. A lot of people say that I don't like reading. I'm not interested in reading. But I would recommend is, even if you don't like reading, start reading. It is very helpful. As Suhapia said us earlier, that one book could change our thinking to speak fluently. Read, listen, and observe. Also listen to some podcasts or some any mentor you have, any online coach you have. Listen to them, how they are speaking. Observe how they are speaking, what words they use, how they speak, what is their body language. Observe everything. Then one point I made earlier is impromptu speaking. Impromptu speaking means you don't rehearse anything. It is on the spot. You start speaking without actually planning and rehearsing it. Try doing this. It will help you a lot, and you will be able to speak on a lot of different topics. Watch web series, English movies. This point I have made earlier also. Watch this. You watch Netflix and you chill, and with that you can also do some homework, do some practice. You can watch web series. If you don't get a word, pause it, then Google it out, then write it out. Yeah, this word is pronounced like this. This is the meaning of these words. Try doing it. It will help you a lot. And be consistent. I would like to tell you that just be consistent. Don't be the guy that will try speaking for 2 to 4 days and then he will leave. And then after 1 month, he will start speaking again. Don't do that. You will lose the flow again. You will start. You will have to start over again and again every time. So be consistent. Take out some time, some little time, say 15 to 20 minutes every day, and practice it regularly. Okay. I would like Shubham to tell about this, the non-verbal communication. For those of you who don't know, Shubham is a very brilliant speaker, orator. He has done anchoring in front of a great audience, in front of huge crowd, and he has that experience, and he is in a good position to explain what eye contact plays an important role in your communication, how confidence helps, how using hand gestures, how to keep involved the audience. And now over to you, Shubham.
Sure. Thank you, Lalit. So, hello everyone. Good morning. This is Shubham here, and this part actually is very interesting because non-verbal communication comes into picture, as in what you are showing in front of screen or else what you are presenting in front of the audience matters a lot here. I think I'm okay with my speed. Are you all getting it? Just say yes in the chat section. Can I see some yes in the chat section? Yes, I'm getting yes. So everyone is attentive. I can find that out. And so the most important part that comes here, then the most important aspect is eye contact. So these moments actually describe what exactly the thought is, how that thought process is working, and when it is being observed that sometimes some speakers keep their hands in their pocket. So that is a sign of like you are not that open to express. You are just hiding something just because you're not that confident. So try to avoid putting your hands in the pocket and do not fold your hands while talking. Also, that is important. Folding your hands is like you are standing and you're just listening to someone. Folding your hands won't give that image that whether you are expressing or whether you are what you can say conveying something to the person in front of you. So these are some three important points. First was eye contact, second was facial expressions, and third was hand gestures. The very good exercise that we can implement regularly can be like talking to our family members, because family members know us since our childhood. They tend to understand how we express, how we talk, and we can also use voice modulations. So voice modulation is one important point that comes into picture, because again that is a form of expression. How you tend to express, how you tend to talk. You should not talk loud. You should not be too low on the sound part. It should be like with a good flow. I'm actually missing the regular audience. Yeah. Okay. So yes, we have got a lot of yes. So the most important aspect, dressing. Now we say like we are not that rich, so how can we afford dressing, a good dressing part? And we have always come across that one meme or post, what you call it, on Instagram. We have to dress up in formal and for just 5 marks. And Steve Jobs had given a presentation worth billions in just a T-shirt. But my friends, actually, the most important point here is to make that uh, dressing matters a lot. It is not just because you should look very good or dynamic, but it also shows that you are a kind of a person who can be relied upon by being presentable. It, in simple terms, if I say that, is like your dressing shows how a person you are. If you have taken some time, I'm not saying you have to get very good into like blazers or something, but at least a formal shirt would work out, because it showcases that you are particular, you know how to be presentable, and that's why dressing matters a lot. So that's the reason we enjoy watching Shah Rukh Khan wherever he has an interview, because he works a lot on his dressing. Also, if we take Hollywood actors into consideration, like Tom Cruise or Leonardo DiCaprio, look at these guys. These guys always work on their dressing part, and that's the reason we have always taken that image in our mind that yes, wow, Shah Rukh Khan is a rich person. Not just because of his rich dresses, but at least he dresses decently, and it gives us that presenter mind, yeah, that this person is really a decent guy, a decent girl. You all agree with me? Dressing is important. I would like to see some yes. Yeah, okay. I'm happy. I'm getting a lot of yes today. And first impression creates a last. As in you can say, first impression is the last impression. This is something that we have heard since our because. So whatever imagery we are able to find, or whatever we are able to create in our mind for any particular person, actually depends mostly on the first impression. And so if you have a good dressing sense and good color schemes, you can say if you have a good haircut, probably your nails are cut, so that shows like you're a presenter guy, a decent guy or a girl, and probably that gives you an add-on in your whole personality. So now let's go to some written communication. How many of you use this K when you say okay in WhatsApp while using or chatting with your friends? कितने लोग K बोलते हैं? Yeah, me. Okay. So first of all, see, we use slang expressions, we use shortcuts, and that's the reason. Because it's also sometimes written as BCOZ rather than writing BECAUSE, we write it because BCOZ, or else lol. These are some words we regularly tend to use. But is it right to use such kind of slangs? That's okay if we are friends and we are chatting in an informal way. That's okay. But if we are talking to someone who is like our colleague, like office colleague, or is someone who is like working with us in some on some project, or someone who is collaborating with us outside India, or someone from the far away, so it does not give a right impression on the person in front of you, because you tend to use slangs like "gotta," will you, and also these don't actually convey the right expressions. So write with clarity. That is something that comes into picture, so that there won't be any misconceptions, or probably there won't be any misinterpretations of whatever you write. So do you all agree? We should improve on this point. Yes, we've got yes from Lalit. What about the rest, guys? Yeah. So we many a times use shortcuts also. So avoid using shortcuts. There's a very good point made that he avoids using shortcuts mostly because he actually does not like it himself, and that's true. You should not actually use shortcuts regularly. In when we are communicating informally, that's sometimes okay, but it gives a wrong impression on the person in front of you. So try to use at least the appropriate words so that it gives the correct picture for everyone. Clarity in your writing. Now, this point actually was also included in the further part where business manners come into. But I would like to just give you a few examples. So, how many of you write mails? Have you all used emails? You use emails for communication and all? Can I see some yes? So, yeah. So we got some yes. So when we write the subject line, we tend to express everything in that subject line itself. Is it right? Do you think? Right? If we, for example, are applying to some job, we tend to write that subject line. It becomes a very long subject line. Also, we must have seen many a times our emails, whatever we receive, go into the spam box. Yeah, Lalit has made an important point. Subject line should be to the point in minimum words. That's true. You can just say job application, and you can mention the reference ID from where you got that job. For example, if you got that job from the Times jobs portal, so you can just mention Times job portal application, and you can just mention that particular number there. So that gives a very precise idea to the reader. So be precise in your writing. Don't write too long. Don't write too short. Maintain a good pace and choose quality words, because that is very important whenever you are conveying or communicating. It should not be like it is a very difficult vocabulary, and it should be like easily understandable, not too easy, but at least it should have some kind of a quality that would give the right picture, the exact picture to the person in front of you. Many times we write I am, I'll. Instead of that, you can write I am. I will, WILL. So this would actually give a good impression. Also, the most important I have come many times is people write ampersand sign, and ampersand sign is actually and for most of us, whatever we know. But try avoid using that ampersand. Instead of that, write and, because that gives the correct impression. And choose words wisely. Be thankful and apologetic if required. So if it is a if you're writing it to someone whom you don't know, you can greet them. You can say hello, greetings for the day, and at the end, you used to write the letters. Similarly, you can say like yours sincerely, yours truly, and it could be fantastically conveyed to the person in front of you. So that's how written communication would matter. Now, Lalit, I would like you to focus on such some applications. So over to you, Lalit.
Yeah, thank you. Now, there are a lot of mentors available there. There are a lot of apps available out there on the internet. But what I have seen, what I have downloaded and experienced, these some apps can help you. English conversation practice. You can actually converse with a bot. They have developed one bot with using artificial intelligence in their application, and you can actually communicate with it. And by doing that you start speaking, and the point I made, you need to speak even if you practice all this theory and all. If you don't speak, you are not going to improve. You need to speak with someone, and if you don't have anyone to speak, then this app can help you a lot. Then there is a cake app named Cake. Then there is a Duolingo. This also helps you in grammar. And then the Cambly. The Cambly app is a paid app. If you can afford to buy their subscription, go ahead. It is a very good app. Basically, the tutors here are from all over the world, from US, from UK. They are native English speakers. They converse with you for whatever time you want, for say 15 to 20 minutes, and you have to pay for them. Okay, then the point is clear that you need to speak with someone, and this app can help you actually to speak with the foreigners, and you will be able to understand their accent better, and you will be able to increase your vocabulary. Okay. Then Grammarly is a very commonly used tool. If you are not using it, use it. It is help for correction. If you type some words incorrectly, it will help you to correct it, and then you will know that yes, this is the right spelling for this word. Okay. Next slide, please, Shubham. Now, I am not a big fan of quotes, but we Indians relate a lot with the quotes or the sayings that we read in the books or the quotes we see on Instagram. We get motivated by it. So I have read some this quote somewhere, and I had written it down in my book. So I thought that I should add here. It says, standing at the bottom, looking at the sky, how can you even win a battle when you don't even try? That's the point I'm trying to make from the start. That if even if we to tell you everything, what you should do, what you should not do, even if you watch thousands of videos, if you don't speak, till the time you don't speak, you will not be able to communicate effectively. You are not going to improve in your communication skills, in your written skills, in your hand gestures, in your facial expressions. That all comes from practice, and the main point here is practice. Try speaking as much as you can, and keep trying it consistently. You will gradually improve over a period of time. It will take some time, but don't lose hope very quickly. Okay. Now, I would like Shubham to start with the business manners part.
Although workplace cultures and expectations can vary between companies, the basics of business etiquette can be used in almost every kind of workplace. Business etiquette is all about treating coworkers and customers with respect and honesty. That means things like offering a firm handshake when initially meeting someone, showing up on time. These can make the other person feel appreciated. When having a conversation, always give people your full attention. Using good eye contact and being an active listener shows you're engaged and that you value the other person's time and thought. Also, write and speak in a friendly, professional tone. Being polite and positive can prevent someone from misunderstanding you. If your tone is bossy or annoyed, on the other hand, it could irritate the other person and make them uncooperative. In a business setting, it's best to use your smartphone sparingly. Put it away when you're in a conversation or meeting, and focus on the people around you. Otherwise, if you keep your eyes on your phone, they'll probably feel disrespectful. How you carry yourself in the workplace can make a big difference in your career. Follow the basics of business etiquette wherever you work, and you'll likely make a strong impression.
Yeah. So let's continue. So what could you make out from that video? That video was actually showcasing some important aspects of business manners. The very first one would be time. So being on time is very much important. That is just because time matters a lot, I would say. So time is very important in our business aspects, because if you commit something that you will finish that particular task by tomorrow 11 a.m., you have to do it by tomorrow 11 a.m. itself. Before that is superb. You can be optimistic in that position. But if you commit something that you are about to do that by some deadline, you have to complete it before that, or probably by that deadline. So time matters a lot. Secondly, whenever you greet anyone, it is like we know many a times we shake hands while meeting. Eye contact would matter a lot again. So Lalit, can you just go to the next slide so that we can begin? I have mostly focused on email writing here, because email writing covers a lot. Like whenever you're writing any kind of notes also, these aspects are similar to the email writing aspects. So write the name of the person. So when you say hello, probably hello Lalit, so that's okay. You put a comma and greet. But if you don't know whom you are writing the mail, then you can write hey there. But even writing hey there sometimes becomes informal. So you can just say hello sir/madam, and you can begin with that particular mail, and keep the subject line and headline very crisp and attractive. Now, if you have some kind of a webinar, for example, we consider this particular webinar. If I am supposed to write a mail to someone, like inviting you all for the webinar, my headline should be like webinar on effective communication and whatever the topic is, effective communication and business skills. So my webinar topic should be crisply conveyed to the person in the subject line itself. I should not write it like it is a free webinar and you join it and that is my subject line. That becomes too lengthy. So just give the central idea of whatever the mail is, the content is, in the subject line itself. Then do not use a title case, as in good morning. Whenever we write good morning, at that time we feel like even morning should have a capital M. Probably you should write it like the second part, like good morning, and morning actually in sentence case M should be small. So that is the correct way to write it. Rename the attachments. Now, when when you're trying to send some kind of documents, you scan it using Adobe or Cam Scanner or something like that. So the name which the file has got automatically saved is the one which is getting shared everywhere. Instead of that, you can just rename that particular file accordingly. Like for example, if you're sending your Aadhaar card scanned copy, you can just name it as Aadhaar card. It gives like, yes, it could also be tracked out easily. And when you tend to download a lot of things, you can easily locate that file by that name. So tend to rename that particular attachment if there are any. Highlight the important points. Like whenever you are writing a mail, probably sans serif is the font which is used. Also, Times New Roman is commonly used. Cambria is the font that is used, and the basic standard size which everyone prefers is 12. Probably if you have some important points, you can bold that particular word or sentence or letters. So that's how it can go ahead well. As we sometime before discussed, avoid using I am, I'll. When you see sent from an iPhone, so it gives a good impression when you probably send something from an iPhone, but avoid that line which comes at the end when you send that mail from an iPhone. Instead, you can include an email signature that would verify whether it has come from an authentic source or not. So read more on email signatures. Email signature is nothing but at the end of the mail, you can include Shubham Dumbre, your contact number, and probably if you have any kind of website, you can write that particular address. So with every mail, that email signature will stay common, and it will go to the person in whom you're sending the mail. So email signatures can be used instead of having such kind of sent an iPhone message. And mention your complete name as a sender. Yeah. So thanks and regards. After writing thanks and regards, you can say this is Shubham. But instead of just writing the first name, you can write your complete name. And if there's any kind of reference, like for example, if I said I have applied for a job, so the reference ID of the job is to be mentioned. Also, if you're attaching something, enclosures are to be mentioned correctly. So include call to action in your mail. Like for example, official website. If you have got some official website, you can say click on this website to view it or to check my work. So when you say click, it is call to action. Like it is giving me, whenever such words, when we use such kind of words, click, visit, these are action words. And so when you write such words in the mail, probably that person would be more likely to attach or click on the link whichever you provide there. Grammarly is okay, but probably try to improve your skills that you won't need Grammarly to help you always. Because when you're on the screen, it's okay that you get Grammarly to be used, but try avoid using Grammarly. Instead of that, your vocabulary skills should be good enough that you can detect whatever grammatical errors you have made. Okay, Lalit, can you go ahead? Guys, any questions till now? I would like to see yes or no something in the chat section. Any questions? With the help of communication skills, how can I improve my selling or marketing skills? So, Nachiket, first and foremost, whenever you are selling something, how is it like you are trying to give that product or market your product in front of the customer? And when you are in that particular position, you firstly need to get connected with the person in front of you. As in, if I am a customer and you are the seller, you will firstly need to understand whether that product is really needed. Whether I really need that product. If I'm not in need of that product, for example, if you're selling me a laptop and today now there is a work from home scenario everywhere. So yes, you can create that need first of all using your communication skills by saying that due to COVID-19, actually offices are working from home, and that's the reason laptop can be something that would help you to particularly complete all your work from home. And so, sir, I would suggest you to buy this laptop, full-featured laptop, and then you can go with the specifications. So yes, you can, with your communication skills, you can improve your selling and marketing skills. Again, Nachiket has asked how to keep good binding and coordination with team members of a team. Regular interactions is the correct answer for this query. As in, if you regularly interact either via phone calls probably would work, or in-person chats. But in this scenario, you can have phone calls. Audio voice calls are important rather than just chats, because audio and voice calls would connect more rather than just typing the messages. Okay, we should read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and the best book on communication skills. So thank you, Ruchi, for that suggestion. We'll definitely have a look. And one more from Hitesh More is I am from a Bachelor of Management Studies background. Thank you to the team for taking this initiative. Today's session helped me remember. Oh, thank you very much. And it's just like we are coming up with multiple initiatives. If you feel that you can also contribute to the society by conducting such kind of sessions with us, you are surely welcome. As we have shown you the screen, you can just check out Delta the Innovators website and right on the contact section. You can also be a part of this team and we can work out something together. This is our main core team. Today it was myself and Lalit who have conducted the session, and on every profile you'll find such QR code. You can just click on that or else scan that QR code to reach our individual profiles, and that's how our whole team is. This is Mantle, this is Pixit, and our mentors. In the work section you will be getting all your certificates. So probably by today evening or tomorrow you will find one more tab here mentioning business webinar certificates. You can just click and download that. We also have an Android application, Delta Aura. So you can just click on this tab and reach the application. We have developed websites for multiple clients. So here is one such website. Here you'll find all the video clips and various initiatives that we have conducted till now. So any video would work. Latest updates would showcase all the latest upcoming events and the past events. So here, if you just check on this particular image, if you just click on this, so Light Up Virtual Conference is something that is taking place tomorrow and day after tomorrow, 24 hours continuous on Microsoft Technologies. It's a fundraising event, and I'm speaking there. So it's a proud moment for all of us, all the Deltians, that we are getting a chance to be international once again. And this was about today's webinar. And if for any other previous sessions, if you want to see the video clips of the webinar, you can just click on that particular poster and you will be directed to the various webinars which we have conducted till now. And this is the Light Up conference which we were talking about. So it's on July 14th, and in the keynote, in the speakers portion, you can find me also there. So I think, yeah, somewhere here. So we are around 150 speakers all over the world. So luckily, we have got a chance there. And my session would take place there on it's 9 to 10 a.m. in EST. So in India, it would be between 6:30 to 7:30. So the session name is Decoding M365, and I'll be speaking there. So if 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is in US, in India it would be at 6:30 to 7:30 on 15th of July. So see you all there in the session. Again, you can have a look at the various sessions that we have conducted. This is a certificate which we had received from IIT Bombay and various other organizations. Scope DTI is a research and development unit where we come up with multiple blogs and research related things. So you can read about various viruses, spike proteins and all. That would help. And this is the contact section where y'all can type in your ideas and get in touch with us, and we can together collaborate and work out something. Your feedbacks are also welcome from this section. You can just type in your feedbacks here. So I hope you all enjoyed the session. Did you all? Can I see yes in the your chat section? Yeah, Light Up Virtual Conference. You can just click on that image to get directed to the website, registration website. It's a free webinar for all. It's an international webinar. So it's a 24-hour continuous webinar, and I'm luckily the speaker also and the producer there. So be our guests and learn something together. With this, I think it's 12:23. We had planned it in time, and we have planned it to wind it up by 12:30. So I hope all your queries have been answered. Tomorrow's session is free, guys. There is no cost, no need to pay anything. It's a free session. Just it is like it will be on Microsoft Teams. So technically, you'll have to install Microsoft Teams. That's it. Nothing else. Microsoft Teams is another collaborative platform where you all can get sessions and learnings. So that's the only thing. With this, we would like to thank you very much for being wonderful audience.
You can give our feedbacks on our website or here in the comment section itself, or we have a community, Delta community. We have shared the link with you. You can join us and give your feedback there. Thank you, everyone.